This is We Burlesque.
Hi, this is Taryn Garters.
Texas Tea Cakes here.
Hello, this is Remy D.
Hi, this is Quinn Dixie.
This is Kurt Hefner.
And Lucho Lawless.
And this is We Burlesque, Season 10.
Season 10.
Excellent. Thank you, gluten-free. You made me laugh.
I
love
have a short tagline. I was like, ooh, I think the shortest
No.
one is.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Sometimes they go on and on and on. And at least you don't say class and ass and sass, because that one I'm a little over. Quite. Yeah. Yeah. A whole lot of class. Yeah. But partially the reason I hate that is because I don't love class used as I don't like I've avoided the word classy for such a long time. Once I started digging into what that really meant and also implied, because I was like, well, then the opposite is trashy. And if I prefer trashy, well, then that doesn't help anyway.
Yeah.
This is We Burlesque the podcast, and I am your host, Viktor Devonne. And through the miracle of fiber optics, I get to talk to nightlife individuals in the field of drag, burlesque, and cabaret. And today is no exception. I have two delightful individuals that I am happy to introduce to all of you today. They are a package deal today, but they are also independent performers. I got to meet both of them, oh gosh, just over a month ago at the Burlesque Hall of Fame Weekender, where we sold t-shirts and merch. And look at them go. I was very impressed with them. And I'd love to know more about who they are and what brought them to burlesque, particularly in this complicated era of burlesque, no less. So, all the way from Arizona, I believe, for both of you, we have Roxie Sunshine and we have Ida Banger. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So again, I do want to emphasize that you're not a duo, but I did meet you at the same time, and since your story begins roughly around the same time, surrounding a lot of the same people, and because I really want to get your thoughts on what your first Burlesque Hall of Fame Weekender was like, I thought I'd have you both, and I really appreciate you both making time for me.
I'm excited to be here.
So technically, who started first? Do you know?
My debut was October 7th, 2023.
Okay, can you beat
If
that up,
that helps.
Roxie?
Burlesque specifically, I think I was May 20th, 2022, but I've been in
Oh,
entertainment longer than that, but that's when I
sure.
started.
Right. All right. So it's actually a little bit longer than I anticipated. Roxy, I'm going to ask you starting first. You began in the strip club circuit first, right?
Oh yeah, even actually before that,
Okay.
I jumped into adult entertainment at 18. I just turned 30.
Okay.
So I started,
We
thank
clap.
you. I started in cam girl work. So I went online to then in person. But the majority of that span was in the strip club circuit.
So give me some math here. What was 18 for you? What year was that?
Oh God. 2014?
2014. Okay. So internet substantial, understood really. I mean, that was before Sesta Fosta, I think. Or maybe it was around that same time when they were really starting to crack down on um anti-sex work legislation. Um,
I
but
had
so a
a
lot of
little bit
folks, yeah.
I had a little bit of a workaround on it
Hmm.
because I got into it very that's a whole story, but I was lucky enough to be a part of a studio in my city, and it just opened, and they came from Phoenix, and it's where they host cam girls to all have their own room, and they would help create safe databases and kind of like all the safety in regards to VPN tracking and people being able to find your information while camming. And so I was able to cam in this studio and have all of my information and data in the cam studio, where people couldn't necessarily track me, and I had a whole team behind my camming that would keep me safe.
Wow.
And I know a lot of
See, this
people
is what
don't
we
really get
need. We need this kind of
that.
that's the thing. I've talked to other folks about like, the argument about decriminalizing sex work, and I know camming is a slightly different beast, but within the same realm,
Under the umbrella, yeah.
decriminalizing sex work and as opposed to legalizing, because there's a lot of nuance in terms of what you get the government involved. And I don't necessarily believe that we have a government in place that would protect those folks, particularly considering the intersectionality of sex workers, particularly the intersectionality of queer people, and because they're fucking that up now
Oh
with
yeah.
with that in every other way. So I believe in at the very least saying, okay, well, we'll remove that, and then if different states, such as how Colorado has handled cannabis use, as sort of the benchmark for a lot of other states to then say, okay, then we'll do local legislation. But I have to admit, I don't really know a whole lot about the business side of cam work, the finance side, because all I think of is, the glory days of the internet. So I'm a little bit older than both of you, which was you would sort of have people on demand, basically, and
No,
say
still same
the
thing.
chat rooms. Yeah,
I would
yeah.
have like my chat room, and then I would have two different tiers. Chat room, you're talking to everybody, everyone's trying to fight for your attention, da 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 da. And then you can go into a paid chat room where you're sharing the space with other people, and then people could pay for the ultimate chat room where it's just one-on-one. And in there you can even do phone calls and they can video you back, which is very always so fascinating.
Hmm.
But the same way like a strip club hosts its 1099 independent contractors, it hosts the building for dancers to dance in. This was the same exact business breakdown except for camming, which means they took a very large percentage of what you made.
Mm,
Um, but being 18 and a mom, I was like, well, we're gonna keep going. So, but
sure.
I didn't know other people were being able to do it at home, or that I could even make more in the strip club circuit, until I ended up just dabbling into it a couple years later.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then you moved into more movement-based
Mm-hmm.
entertainment. Did you have
Yes.
a history of dance class or even someone who was really into Halloween?
No.
Okay.
I never took any dance classes. Well, I did briefly do breakdancing in high school. Not that I could breakdance in 6-inch pleasers on stage in a strip club, but a girl can
I'd love
dream.
to see it. I'd love to see you try.
Don't stop a girl. Uh,
No, I worry about the ankles, but
I got strong ankles. Okay. Um, but no really any background. But my mom was a dancer and various types of dance and ballet, but I grew up in a very sex positive household.
cool.
And so this wasn't something that was very taboo to get into.
Mm.
Even cam work. It was like,
You didn't
oh,
necessarily bring it up at Thanksgiving, though, I assume.
I ran home to my mom and I was like, Mom, guess what I'm doing? And she's like, what? And I was like, so I'm a cam girl. And you know how like girls get online, and I started explaining to her, and she's like, well, that's badass, you know.
Wow.
But isn't there like, she's like, you know what? Actually, I'm sure you know more than I do about it. Just be safe and don't let anybody stalk you. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right. My mom had me at 40, so our her experience with sex work and digital age and all this stuff, like she couldn't give 2 cents about it. She was just like, well, it's the internet. I don't know. Do your thing. So,
Fair enough.
yeah.
I know, were you a showbiz kid, or did you fall into this sort of unexpectedly?
I grew up doing dance. I started in ballet when I was 3, and I did that for a long time up
Mm.
through high school. I have a very big background in the performing arts. So I did ballet when I was like 10 or 11. I started doing point and I got into modern and lyrical and jazz. Um, and I played the viola when I was in elementary school all throughout high school. So I have a music background and I performed a lot doing that.
What does a
And
viola look like again?
it's like a slightly bigger violin.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah. Um, and when I was at the end of my high school schooling, I started taking aerial arts classes. Um, and I was doing mostly silks and lyra, and I like ever since I started doing it, I never stopped doing it.
Up in the air.
Yeah, up in the air. Yeah. And
Why do you think that that was fulfilling to you? What was the feeling of doing that?
so since I grew up doing ballet and I was doing like only ballet for the most part, I never had a lot of arm strength. Like I had enough strength to like hold my arms for ballet things, but not
Mm.
enough to like climb up to like 30 feet up in the air, you know?
Oh, sure.
Um, there was nothing else that I had that was movement and art based that made me feel so strong and beautiful at the same time.
Oh, that's
Because
lovely.
I got that from dance, but bringing it into the air made it a whole other thing. And like I have a lot of flexibility from doing dance my whole life.
Sure.
And I didn't quite have the strength, but I like as I kept doing aerial and taking classes, I got the strength and now I can do crazy shit in the air. And it's really fun.
I would think of ballet as being fairly rigid in what in technique. I'm sure that
Yeah.
there's a lot of folks who's like, no, you can actually, but you have to learn a lot of the disciplines, a lot of the basics, and then go from there.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of the aerial arts, while I imagine there's a great deal of discipline as well, did it seem more inherently free, free form?
Yeah, it's more Wild West kind of than
Mm.
ballet. Like there are technique things you can do, but a lot of it is more freeform art. And like as long as you're doing a move safely, like and you know how to get into it and how to get out of it without falling, uh, then you're like you can do whatever you want to. It's kind like
I mean, you can
there,
hurt yourself rough on ballet too. I know people who have ankle and feet and toe injuries
yeah.
substantially from that. So,
Mhm.
oh, so was that your transition into burlesque, or had you heard what burlesque was already?
It was kind of my transition into burlesque. So I at the aerial studio I used to go to when I was 17 and I started taking classes there. Um, Spellbound Burlesque was hosting workshops there, and I wanted so badly to take them, but I was 17, so I couldn't. Um,
Okay.
and then I was 18 and was in college, and then I didn't have time or money to do it. Um, and I am trying to remember when I saw my first Spellbound show. I mean, it must have been after I was 21. But I remember going to my first Spellbound and I was like completely blown away. And I was like, I need to do this. Like,
Mm.
because they featured I mean like the burlesque alone, but also the aerial burlesque artists that were in there as well. I was like, this is everything. I need to see this and do this like all the time.
So the two of you both started independently. Did you both have mentors or a school environment first, or did you try things individually first?
I started, it was a very interesting time because the clubs were forced to close because of COVID, and that's what
Sure.
made me go into a deep reflection. And then so fast forward a couple years, and I found this thing called Reveal. It's kind of like burlesque workshops that help you kind of go through the basics, pick a name, a little bit of self-reflection, and kind of get you on stage for the first time. And that's under Lola Torch here in Tucson, Arizona. And I was like, I can't do this, because I'm used to everything being hidden and secret. Like, I never posted anything on the internet, which is ironic to say, when I was camming or and stripping. Everything was very private. So the idea of people seeing me was and and recognizing me in public was very terrifying. But I ended up signing up. I actually emailed her in February of 20, no, January, February of 2020. Yeah, it was January. And she emailed me back. She's like, well, I'm actually starting up a workshop next month. It'll be the first one since pre-COVID. And then ta-da! I'm here.
Here you are. Were you always Roxy Sunshine?
I dabbled with a couple different names, but they were a little too, hmm. I brainstormed quite a few names, but then I settled on Roxy Sunshine.
What do you think that means to you in terms of what you are as an artist?
I think so. Roxy Sunshine, it breaks down into two pieces. Roxy, the IE, plays into my legal everyday name with the IE at the end. And then when
Okay.
I was camming, it was Lily, and in the club, it's Pixie. And I was like,
Mm.
what would be the next, evolution
E.
of Pixie? You know? I mean, and then I was like, Roxy.
There you
And
go.
then Sunshine is a nickname I grew up with for a very long time. And I felt like it was something I needed to lean into and accept that I am a very bright, bubbly person, and that deserves to be put out there in a very unapologetic way. So
Yeah.
hence Roxy Sunshine.
I mean, it also feels like, just out of curiosity, uh, when you were dealing with cam work and fantasy, there is certainly going to be a number of individuals who are going to be attracted to your youth and innocence and
Yeah.
want to play with that.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and I find, that we're at a very controversial era when it comes to age play and innocence and what that all means and everything being, inherently dangerous because, we have Epstein files and we didn't necessarily have Epstein files a couple of years ago.
They
I
were
mean, we
there. We
did, but
just didn't know.
we didn't know about him exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, the nature of playing with innocence is a tried and true version of sexuality,
Hmm.
and also, I mean, really, um, what am I thinking here? Like, providing that for folks. What is your thought on um, playing with innocence and your own adulthood? Because again, at 30,
Yeah,
you're an
starting at
adult.
18
And
and then
starting
now
at 18,
being
well, and
30.
there are folks who would certainly say that 18 is by all means legally an adult, but not necessarily emotionally an adult.
I
What
can
is your thought on
agree.
that?
So I think camming really opened up a lot of avenues in so many different ways, but specifically, I really fell into obviously a lot of fetish work, dominatrix work,
Mm.
um, and both of those categories under the BDSM realm and all of sex work in general. I learned so much and I actually brought that to the club with me. But if we're asking about specifically age play, um, because obviously being 18 and uh right into camming, I feel like more than people realize, a lot of people are working through their own trauma.
Mm.
And I've learned through behind closed doors and in private servers, people paying me for my time, that so many people are just working through their trauma when right off the bat they're like, this is a disturbed person, that they have a problem, they have a this, but it's like, have you asked? Well, no one's going to ask them why. That's
No.
why they come to a sex worker or a cam girl, to kind
Yeah.
of relive out these things. So I think more than not, it's about working through and resolving trauma, and then maybe things you have questions about or just curious about, but I've never had anybody do something without consent during camming,
Hmm.
which is, especially through camera, is very, very interesting. Um, but yeah, I think more than not, all the age play work I did had to do with resolving trauma and past situations, whether it
There's
was
sort of,
for
yeah.
the a start trigger warning, whether it was the person, and this was really hard for me to work through in camming, because I would face myself dealing with like a trauma trigger in a session, and I was like,
Mm.
well, this is a lot for me to handle right now. What do I do? Um, but it was both sides. I'd have people come to me who enacted on these things and were um, prosecuted over it and felt a lot of remorse and would like want to talk about it, literally just talk about what happened and what they did wrong. And I would
Mm.
just be sitting there. And then some people are reenacting some of the traumas they experienced and wanted to just let it out. So very unique position to be in when you're first starting in. But it really helped me find comfort and peace within my trauma, but knowing I was holding
Mhm.
a safe space for others to work through their trauma in regards to age play specifically.
Sure, sure.
If that
Yeah, I
answers your
think
question.
I mean it does. I mean it's a nuanced, complicated situation that I feel is icky to get into because it automatically places judgment on, well, why are you defending this, or why are you, I'm like, I'm not actually defending this. What I'm actually
No,
doing is I'm it doesn't need my defense, frankly. It either exists or it doesn't. And I think that folks who have quirks, kinks, and behaviors, I guess.
behaviors.
If they're able to experience them where no one is getting exploited, then I suppose that that's the safest way of handling things, because you're working with someone who is a professional. You're working with somebody who, in theory, is able to handle these terms and these, in a fantasy situation where no one actually is being harmed. And
Yeah.
that's true, of course, when it comes to rape play. That's going to be the case when it comes to dominant submission, or the this. I mean, I think a lot of times we talk about um, the ethics of extramarital relationships or extramarital sex work, when
Mhm.
a lot of the Johns or a lot of the customers are going to be married or closeted or something in some capacity. Um, and that comes up a lot in queer sex work, because how many senators or congresspeople vote against rights but will engage in
I've
certain.
worked with literally about everything. Um, l- Pretty much everything you've mentioned, I've worked with. And it really changes your view on things because, yeah, if it's in a consensual space and people are able to like talk it out or act it out, it's not like you're in a forum online where your comment lives forever unless you delete it and scrub it, and then people find your account from 11 years ago and like, blast it. It's just a very like one-on-one thing. And
Mm.
lot to
And
work through
you didn't sign on
sometimes.
to be a therapist.
No, I did not. I was a very naked therapist, though. There I was, being like, oh, okay, okay, let's break this down. And I'd have actually, yeah, people would make follow-up sessions to then talk about how they felt about it. I've saved marriages, I've helped couple, like you name it. It was a yes. Very, very crazy. Very
And
crazy
did you
time.
grow up in a particularly sex positive or sex aware environment growing up, or how did you contend with
I did
the
not. It
nakedness
was a very like we just didn't talk about it.
I
at all?
remember you and me, Ida, both were talking about this on the drive with Beatrix Glamour Bomb in the car about our backgrounds, and I could feel the energy behind me of you being like, "Huh? What?" And I was like, "So what about you, Ida?" And you're like, "Well, no."
Yeah, I
I was
just
like,
didn't
"Oh."
have anything to add to it
Well,
in the
how
car.
did you contend with the vulnerability and the physicality of being a stripper essentially on stage, an entertainer and an artful entertainment creative force nonetheless,
Mhm.
but you had to contend with exposing your body in a certain way.
Yeah, I guess I was always drawn to it, even though like sex and sex work weren't things that we talked about in my family growing up. Um, so growing up, like every single year of my life up until I was like 21, we went to Vegas every year as a family. And so I like even though we didn't talk about sex related things, I growing up I saw all these like beautiful showgirl women in scantily clad clothing, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. They're so beautiful. Can I do that? And um, to make a long story short, I was in an abusive relationship for a while, and then like the summer where I escaped my abuser, that was when Spellbound hosted this summer series of workshops, and I had just like gotten out of this very toxic relationship, and I was like, well, I guess I can do this now. And so I took the workshops and I was like, wow, this really is like everything that I've wanted to be. And that so that was the summer of 23, and then I took all of my performing arts like dance, music, etc. background. And like I always liked choreographing my own dances and aerial pieces. And so I took that experience and then I took the burlesque workshop experience that I got that summer and I started crafting my own burlesque, like strictly burlesque and not like dance or aerial, like a burlesque act. And that was when I debuted it in October that same year. Like I guess I had always wanted to do it, and then I found myself like the cards were in a position where I was able to play it and make it happen.
Yeah. What was the first act?
It was to Big Spender, which is I know like a trope song, but
No, but there's a reason it is. Which version?
the uh
Is it the
what's
Shirley
the
Bassey rock version? The
it's the one that's only like 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So it's
Peggy.
probably the original Shirley Bassey um version, which is like I think a minute 56. Um and that's short.
Yeah, it was I mean it wasn't a full act. It
What
was
did you accomplish in a minute 56?
well, so okay, you know like the tiny hat trope?
I
I
do.
I did not use a tiny hat. I used a really oversized hat. And so I like came out wearing it and then I took it off and I like hid behind it. And well, so the reason why I chose this 2 minute song was because like it's a burlesque trope song. And also the show where I debuted it at was oh, I forget what they called it. I
I'm
don't think I
looking
can
for the
remember the name of it right now, but it was
It's okay.
like a thing. It was kind of like an open mic type thing. Not open,
Okay.
they called or it wasn't open stage. That was a different thing. Um,
this um it was with the formerly named Foxhair Cabaret, which became Doe Entertainment, right? Over at
no,
Parlor AV.
it was a different one. It was hosted at Prowess Pole Studio. And it was hosted by um my God, I can't remember their names. Uh, hold on. Let me pull up my Instagram real
Sure,
quick.
take your
I'm
time.
on your Instagram, I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Okay.
on it right now.
We're gonna get
It's
it
gonna
together.
be at like the very beginning of it.
Yeah. So I see, okay. Fox hair. I only see your post from the Doe Entertainment and Parlor AZ.
A Teletorque is who hosted it, but I still don't
Mm.
remember the name of what the show was. But they were specifically looking for like acts that
Newcomers.
were around 2 minutes because it
Interesting.
was
Okay.
a okay, Show and Glow. I found it. It's called
What was it?
Show and Glow, and what they wanted from people is like minutes or sorry, acts that were around like no more than 2.5 minutes because they just wanted to have the space for people to try out new things and like maybe do like it was for people who were new performers or
Yeah,
experienced performers that wanted to try something that isn't like the thing that they
like
always
an
do.
experimental stage. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that was where uh
That's so funny. That's so antithetical to what a lot of us think of burlesque, though. 2.5 minutes as a standard,
yeah.
considering. I mean, I don't know if you did you go to the Legends panels in well European. They would do like 15-minute sets sometimes. So
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my
so
God. Can we just look at this hat? Can we just iconic behavior?
I'm gonna have to feature that on the Instagram just so you know
Look
that
at
Please
giant
that.
red
do.
sun hat.
I
Yes.
love that photo.
Love it. Obsessed.
Hi, this is Viktor Devonne, and you're listening to We Were List the podcast, and I love you for it. I gotta tell you, this is still one of my very favorite things to do. I'm very happy, very proud, very honored that people download this and listen to me and a bunch of folks talk about why we love what we do. It's really great. It really, really is. And I want to give a special love to the patrons on patreon.com. Give it up for Melody, Devin, JaCourtney, Clara, Dottie, Charlotte, Luna, Goosey, Roxie, Faye, Tiffany, Jimmy, Curly Bright, Oliver, Sebastian, Alex, Bo, and Stormageddon. I had to take a breath there, people. It's really lovely. It really is really, really, really lovely. I think it's so difficult to dedicate time and make shit happen, but I'm working on it. I'm trying. Goodness gracious. Please know that you mean the world to me. And if you would like to support me in any other way that is not money, please follow, like, subscribe, share, comment, do those things, and I won't charge you for it. It'll get me further out there, and more importantly, it'll get these people that I bring onto this show further out there as well. So, mwah, be well, darlings. Roxy, do you remember what burlesque act you did first?
I did Telepatia. I know I'm chopping that name up. By Kali Uchis.
I don't know it.
But
I don't think I do anyway.
it's um it's a song I always found to be very dreamy that I knew I could not dance to at the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it's to me about
Is it in Spanish?
Caliuchis, Caliuchis has a lot of songs in Spanish. Some of her albums are
Mm-hmm.
completely in Spanish. Telepatia, surprisingly, is not completely in Spanish.
Oh, I know
Um,
that song. That's a good song. It is
it's
dreamy. Yeah.
it's very dreamy, and pretty much it's it's one of her biggest bilingual songs. And pretty much it's like this. For me, I fantasize about being distant with a lover, because she sings about like, I'm just a flight away, you can come fly to me, you can come do this. If you wanted, you could take a private plane. I'm hearing all these things, and um, I can read your mind. So I think it's really about, for me, especially because she's like, I want to hear your breath on the phone. So very dreamy, fantasizing. Honestly, reminds me of my cam girl days of like, I'm thinking about you and I'm on the phone right now, kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
So my debut, I was in red silk, like a red silk matching, like two-piece, like PJ kind of thing. And the whole thing was about fantasizing about somebody that you miss, and what do you look like in your bedroom when you're doing that? Except for I was
Mm.
on a bench and very much like peeling off my PJs and laying there and like caressing my body and like really fantasizing about what I would do with this person that I really
An
miss.
idealized, like,
Yeah, like,
yeah.
oh, I'm laying here, I'm taking off my clothes, I'm touching my legs, like very much like submersed in the fantasy. And I did a tear cut bra for my first act. So that threw a lot of people off because they're like, oh my God, my outfit was terrible. Like I said, we're still barely getting over COVID. I was also in a very abusive relationship. And so I was kind of isolated in everything. And the fact that I even put this together was such an achievement, especially because I had such low self-esteem. I gained weight. Like I said, people were gonna see me in actual
Hmm.
lights, not the black lights in the dark dim strip club where I come up to you and I have the choice to come up to you, or I could walk away from you. It's like everyone's crowded at the front and
Personal.
like
It's
is
very
gonna
personal.
recognize me. Yeah. Um, and I just, it was so fascinating to be up there, and it was such a different experience than being in the strip club. But that's what my first act was.
Yeah.
And I look back and I was like, oh, honey, you thought that was enough rhinestones? That's cute.
Well, I'm going to ask you that question that every stripper burlesquer hates. What is the difference to you about stripping and burlesque, if anything?
I knew you were gonna ask this too.
I know.
It's
Well,
been my life.
when I'm given the opportunity, I have to. I
Well,
have to because I love hearing perspective on it, and I know that it's a trope. It's one of those lazy questions, but it's a legit one.
stripping is sales. Stripping is business. Stripping, as much as burlesque can also be industry and community, right? With the
Mhm.
strip club, very much sales and survival. Um, Especially as a mom, I I pretty much raised my daughter completely on my own for the first 10 years of her life. And so the strip club was the perfect place for me to work 4 or 5 days a week, 4.5 hours at night, be able to come home, have quality time with my kids. So to me, it was work, 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 work. A lot of the girls were very surprised. I was like, well, I have a client coming in at 2, and I have a client coming in, rolling off my schedule. They're like, client? What do you mean client? And I was like, yeah, I schedule men in to see me. Like, if they're lucky, after a certain amount of money and after a
Appointment
certain amount of
only.
time, they get my number. And if they want to see me and they don't want to wait, then they schedule a time. And so the girls were like, whoa, what? Like, this is crazy? So it was very much business, 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 client management, and a lot of fetish work. Um, and then sometimes I would have private sessions outside of the club as well. But so for me, stripping is a matter of survival and sticking it to the man a bit. Because I really got to, oh man, the amount of people I've put in their place in the club, who come in as customers. So that is what stripping is for me, is survival. And I really, like, I didn't change my hair for all the years I was in the strip club. I stick to a very specific niche. This came from a lot of training and camming. Um, but in burlesque, the transition to burlesque is about me. I've
Mm.
never got to think about me before, and how do I feel? What do I want? What do I want to express? Because if I've ever only grow up in survival and only learned how to survive and not feel safe enough to express, what is this whole new world?
Hmm.
Um, I feel like burlesque is definitely the art of tease, as we all say. I also think it's a beautiful way to communicate without words. I love body language. I love learning about body language. I actually would read up on body language, and apply it to the strip club. Um, but I think it's a whole new way of communication, expression, history, tease, eroticism, and I don't think there's not one anything in burlesque. It's everything. I
Hmm.
don't think you can really put it into one thing because everyone's so different. That's the best part about it. So we all have different missions and reasons and explorations and just all the above in burlesque, and that's what makes it so enticing. Because we all know what the end is. We
Generally
all
speaking, yeah.
we
Yeah.
all know that they're gonna get down to their bits. But why do people keep showing up? You know, Ginger Valentine made this is a very good point in a class I took at hers, at Spellbound Studios. And she's like, why? Well, why? Why do people keep coming back if they already know it's gonna happen? What is your why? Why do you do it? What's your message? How do we communicate? How do we express and talk without words? And it's just beautiful. That's what I think the difference is in burlesque is.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
the fantasy and coming to you with a mind with a backstory in mind when it comes to cam work or sex work or scene work. Um, there's a difference because in burlesque, you're letting an audience know who didn't necessarily know what scene they were getting into or what scene might respond to them. So there's a certain level of discovery that we're inviting people into that allows folks to, even if they have preconceived notions, and we have super fans, we have folks who, are dyed in the wool, but and you know what there are people who are always going to have their preferences and what they're into. There are some folks who are very not interested in nerdlesque because they find it distracting about trying to keep up with the fandom aspect of it. There are people who don't love Gown and Glove because they find it that sort of structure isn't appealing to them. There are people who don't like the performance art stuff because it's too gritty or it's not what they find fulfilling. And there are people who are drawn to very specific things. I don't want to make it only about what people are not into. But sometimes in burlesque it's easier to say what people are not into than they are to say what they are, because if you go to a well curated show, you're going to see a wide variety of things, and things are going to pop out to you that you knew you were going to like, and then things are going to pop out to you that you didn't necessarily have on your bingo.
Hmm.
And that I think is really helpful because as a expressive art, you're providing people your perspective, you're providing people your canvas, as opposed to someone who's going to um, you and saying, okay, this is what we're doing. These are the guideposts. These are the situations, which can still be fun too, and still super improv, and still learn a lot about Publer. I know that a lot of folks go in thinking one way, and then you end up in tears because you didn't expect a certain level of intimacy. But
Hmm.
there's something to be said about a well curated burlesque show allowing an audience to learn about themselves through what you are providing. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's about it. I think that's the coolest part so far is I've had to work through a lot of vulnerability and a lot of judgments I've made on myself. Um, I'm allowed to take up space.
Mm,
I just I'm allowed to slow down and take my time. That's the scariest one. Because in the strip club, you're like, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm going to that lap, I'm spinning on this pole, I'm upside down, I'm grabbing this cat. You're just like singing and camming. It's like, who's next? Who's next? Who's next?
mhm. Grind, basically. Well, so to
Yeah,
speak.
the grind. But
Yeah,
to honor
yeah.
myself, to
Mm,
honor
mm.
myself for me right now is what burlesque is for me
I
personally, but in general, yeah.
well, Ida, how do you respond to that? How do you what about burlesque is fulfilling to you, and what's your relationship with an audience?
So I agree with what you guys are saying about how burlesque is about expression. I think the top three words that I can use to describe it are expression, vulnerability, and comedy. So
Where does it? Okay.
I've been thinking about this recently. Like I think that um burlesque and comedy are more in common than burlesque and dance. And I'm using dance because I have a dance background, so that's something that I can compare
Yeah.
it to. But I've been attending stand-up comedy shows recently, and like the pacing of a comic in their sets is very similar to how a burlesque artist does the pacing for their act. So like I've been studying and like learning things about how to do burlesque better by watching comedy,
Hmm.
which I think is interesting because I that wasn't ever something that anyone had told me before. But I like the first show or comedy show that I went to, I was like, oh, these are the same thing, just in different uh like outfits.
Yeah.
Uh, but I do,
It's
and I
storytelling. Really, what it is it's
yes, it's
storytelling. Yeah.
storytelling. Burlesque is storytelling, when you get down to it all, which I think is why expression is another word that comes to mind for burlesque because it it's about the story that you want to tell. And I think the stories that people are best at telling it are the ones that are about them or ones that they are like very familiar with. And so a lot of people's best burlesque works, I think, are the ones where they're like really tapping into their true authenticity and like what their like highest self looks like.
Mm. Well, we do lean into, the tropes like the French maid, the housewife, the man in the suit. I mean, I'm a hobo clown. That itself is an archetype. When you're playing with these familiar references and then twisting them or even playing them very directly, you're going to take on whatever you're going through as an artist to it, as well as the times. So,
Hmm.
is the scene in Arizona, as well as the audience in Arizona, whatever that makeup of individual experiences, whether it's political, whether it's social, what is the burlesque world that you're a part of, and how have you seen the response to it? Is it escapism? Is it political minded? Is it a meeting of minds? Is there back and forth? Do you find sometimes that some people are a little bit more conservative than necessarily you anticipated, and they're not necessarily as receptive? What's your reciprocity with the showbiz aspect of burlesque? Does that make it a little bit more sense?
Yeah, that makes more
Okay.
sense. I think so. I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona.
Hmm.
Roxy's based in Tucson, so we might have slightly different answers. But
Hmm.
I mean, the Phoenix is also really big, and there's a lot of burlesque here. So I will add also there's also a lot of drag here, and sometimes the drag has burlesque. And I take part in that. I'm going to shout out Cirque du Soleil, because that's a show that I get to be part of, and I'm very grateful for that. So burlesque in burlesque scenes and burlesque in drag scenes, I think, are different, but they can overlap a lot. Like the producer of Cirque du Soleil, Trey, he MCs a lot for Spellbound Burlesque, who's a burlesque production that I also spend a lot of time in. Um, and I think there's like there any of the things that you listed, you can find that in the Phoenix burlesque industry. You can find like arts that are more related to politics and like making commentary about it through art. You can find classic burlesque. You can find like very powerful, more rooted in dance burlesque. Um, yeah.
Yeah. That's the one that's in the round, right? I've seen photos of
Mhm.
that's the one where everyone's all around you.
Yeah.
How do you contend with reveals when technically some of the audience can see you? You just do hide a
So
lot of hiding behind hats?
Well, yeah.
so I have a funny story. There was this one Spellbound show that I did where my signature act is called Titty Kitty. It's this one where I am dressed as a leopard and I come out and it's very campy and I do an unconventional set of reveals in this act. So
Mhm.
the thing that I post a lot on my Instagram is my shiny cartoony cat X butthole. So I like lift my tail up and there it is.
There it
So
is.
that's one of the the reveals. Um a lot of times in burlesque, and so this will tie back into expression and
Yep.
like tropes and individuality in burlesque. So I, in the middle of my act, instead of at the end, I do my like titty pasty reveal. Um, and I peel off my leopard unitard and like toss it away. And I have this corset on underneath it. And at the very end, like the climax reveal is I take off my corset and there's two more pairs of pasties. So I've got a total of six pasties because I'm a cat
You're a
and I'm
cat,
anatomically correct.
right?
Uh, and I performed this act all over. But when I performed it at Spellbound, it's in the round, right? And so you can see in the video, well, like I can't really cover up, like once I take off the corset, I like the people that are in the back or like like in around like
Facing you,
the
yeah.
back
Yeah.
part or whichever part ends up being the back, they can see it, and so you can see in the video they like throw their hands up and their heads and they laugh and clap. And then I turn around and then you see the people in the front and the sides do the exact same thing just like 10 seconds later. And I think it's hilarious. I've watched it like 50 times because I it's like watching a wave in a stadium, but it's in
Yeah.
like around at a burlesque bar.
The round is very interesting. I've seen what you're talking about because I've performed there. I performed there last August, and that's where me and Ida met.
Yes.
Uh,
She came up to me in the
This is
parking
Maxie's
lot.
show, right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Maxie Millions is one of the
Yeah.
folks behind that. Okay, that's who I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah.
She came up to me in the parking lot and she's like, "Hi, I'm Ida Banger." And I was like, "I know." I'm Roxy Sunshine. She's like, "I know."
That was how we met.
We were just so excited to see each other because we've been on Instagram, and I was like,
Mhm.
I remember after she walked away, I was like, "Babe, that was Ida Banger." He's like, "I know that was Ida." I was like, "But it was Ida. She's so cool." Now here we are.
Now here you are.
I had I I had really nobody to for specifically in the round.
Mm.
I had a message my friend Doxy Devine who performs up there regularly, and I was like, uh, where's technically the front? What would you consider the back? Like da 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 da. Um, very helpful. Very helpful to figure that one out. It was really fun performing in the round though, because I don't know if you who could have guessed, I love crowd work. I love being up and close with people.
Necessarily would that fall into play? I mean, I would think that there's at least several burlesque folks that I know of that you know what? This is my dance space, and that is your dance space, and I'm gonna be over here.
I just love
But you're
eating
one of
people
those
up.
folks who just loves to be all up in.
Yep. Get over here.
Well, we need that too. That's the thing is we need a variety because then the audience is kept on their toes in the splash
Yeah.
zone.
Oh, I have something I want to say.
Mm,
I like having a variety of performers at a burlesque show, I think is so important because I like my personal brand, I think what I do best is like the mix of silly and sexy at the same time. Like pretty much all of my acts have a bit of humor in them because that's the art that I like to make. Um, and I I love watching other artists do the thing that they're good at because it inspires me to do better at the thing that I really like doing. And so like
mm.
just being in a space where everyone's doing their best at what they do is so inspiring because it like it lifts everyone up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is and we're going to talk about your first experience at the Weekender in just a second, but it's an example of see I remember going to the Weekender and I can't do and I'm not necessarily interested in doing a lot of what the folks who are doing on that stage are capable of doing.
Hmm.
But I knew that already. And that's the thing too, is that I've been doing this just under 20 years. It'll be 20 years in September. And but I also come from a Rocky Horror background where I was already vulnerable to an extent and kind of doing crowd work. I mean, if you really think about it, because I was playing to an audience in front of a movie screen, and I had to be as big or bigger than or somehow try to command attention over, Tim Curry and Susan Sarandon, which, is a tall order. So, but Home of Happiness, my Rocky Horror cast, we became really well known for theme shows. So in Valentine's Day time, we would do like a lingerie night where everyone was in a specific per scene variations of our character costumes. So I wore this fabulous green pajama set instead of a lab coat for the lab scene because that fit that styling there when I was Frankenfurter. Um, or if or I'd like wear like like heart-shaped boxers for Brad if I have to be Brad that night, things like that. Um, and so we would lean into playing against what was already on the screen, really. But that's how we engaged. That's how we kept, the interest alive for a lot of repeat visitors. Because again, if you're going to the movie every week, you know what's going to happen. But there's a live element to it, and it's also there's a certain element of sports as well to it, which is sort of like who can be the funniest, who can say a callback the loudest and get the best audience response. A lot of that in addition to what we were going through as cast. There's a lot of audience dynamics as well. And I started as an audience member first. Um, as audience members, when you're watching burlesque, what do you think your experience, in addition to being so impressed and are happy that there is a variety of things like that and how it feels to you as an artist, what do you love about being an audience member? And are you still just as much of a fan? Roxy, I'll start with you since Ida, you started to let us into this.
What a big question.
But a big question.
I think something I've learned recently is whenever you feel the most lost in burlesque and in your art, go back where you started, which is the audience. Most of us,
Very.
and go back to your roots and enjoy and watch other people have the joy. Because when we all get in a slump
Mm,
as performers and like burnout and all this stuff. And so for me, being in the audience is step one all over again. And I love going back there as much as I can because when I'm feeling burnt out, it's just so beautiful to see people up there in their you know, in their moment. And it reminds me why I'm doing it all over again and that I love showing up for people. Um, I've cried so much in the audience in shows. Um, Sonia Rita had a show a couple of months ago. Oh, it's more than a couple months ago now. I think it was Around the World in 80 Ways, and it was a very varied cultured background show where it highlighted everyone's culture, and I cried so much. I was just sobbing because with the way the world is right now,
Hmm.
and to see I'm in a historic mining town of Bisbee, Arizona, and this little just tucked away, and there we all are, and I'm looking around, and everyone is just being so appreciative and so happy and just loving everyone for who they are. Like that's what it is about
It's
being
an
in the
exchange.
audience.
Yeah.
And then when a show is has a lot of variety, it's so refreshing. It's so inspiring because you're not expecting it. In Tucson, I feel like I know me and plenty of other people here in Tucson feel this way. I don't know if they necessarily say it out loud, but a lot of people just get comfortable and kind of do the same thing over and over again.
Mm.
Um, and so I find a lot of variety in Sonia Rita's shows in Bisbee, Arizona with Grand Burlesque Presents because it's the most beautiful melting pot of variety of experience of people and people from all around. And you never know what's going to happen next. And then everyone's there out of the love of burlesque and just all of it. And so when I'm experiencing show with so much variety, it's just so wonderful and refreshing and inspiring and just it makes you feel wonderful. I can imagine how the audience feels for those who don't do burlesque. I wonder how they feel, but us as fellow performers, it's just that's how it makes me feel.
Hmm. Did you want to expand on some of the other elements in as an audience member, in addition to the variety of it?
I think my favorite thing about being an audience member, which is also my favorite thing about being a performer, like I think, this comes from the fact that both are necessary for this to happen. Like you need both of those parties to be present at something in order for like the live entertainment exchange to happen. Like there's so much energy in a room where a performance is about to happen. Like you can feel it. It's uh like do you remember being in school and like you could tell when there was a test because like just by walking into the room you could feel it because like everyone has this energy. That one's not a good one, but like when you walk into a venue that's about to have a burlesque performance or any performance really, like
I
the
love a
audience
theater.
just
I love it walking in. Yeah, absolutely. There's
It's such
electricity.
a good
Yeah.
feeling.
yeah, there's like charge in the room and you can feel it
Yeah.
and like it's really fun to be in like to be part of the audience and get to share that with everyone. And I want to touch on the fact that like every single performance, even if it's an act that someone's done like 50 times, like all 50 times that they do it are unique. Like
It's true.
and it's because of the audience. Like the audience is not the same every single time you perform. So it's it's different. Like it matters who's there, you know?
Yep.
It's like a very like a microcosm of something that matters a whole lot. So it's really like I don't take for granted any performances that I go to. Like I think it's such a blessing to be part of it, whether you're an audience member or a performer.
Hey, this is Viktor Devonne, and I like socks. I've always been very open about my appreciation for the fabric that goes on my feet, and I want you to enjoy them too. Please go to footclothes.com, look at the variety of fabulous novelty socks that do not suck, and indulge. You can get 10% off now with the name Viktor Devonne as a promo code. That's VIKTORDEVONNE. Put it all together, no spaces, and enjoy.
Tonight on Murder, She Wrote.
Hooray!
Hey. It's
Yeah,
kind of Piper Laurie and Brenda Vaccaro at A Love Child.
thank goodness.
I want to know
These
her.
nails. Yeah, where's her series? That's what
She's
I want.
fabulous.
The son is Joaquin Phoenix.
I know, isn't that nuts? And he is an ugly little kid. I'm sorry.
We're just like, hey, remember when this guy was in this obscure Broadway show in 1976?
Right? Look at him in those tight pants. Yum.
Well, because there's not
But
a
we
lot
do
really
get-
going on. It's
Yeah.
supposed I mean, unless you're listening to the dialogue, which frankly, audience at home, you can do without us. We're just
Yeah, do
learning
your own
about
work,
some of these
damn it.
backstory. But
Right.
Boswell put her up to it.
Yeah.
And then Trish had to be killed because she realized that Boswell didn't have her interests at heart because Teddy was the inheritor.
Yeah.
Playing her like a fiddle.
Oswell knew it, and Trish just gulped it down like one of those martinis,
And then tossed it onto the lawn.
and then lost her head. Poor Trish.
Trish loses her head. This is Viktor Devonne,
And this is Petra Fried
and this is Tonight.
on Murder, She Wrote.
Have you,
Energetic bubble.
Roxie mentioned Sonia's show, which involved a lot of cultural representation. Have either of you engaged in um, performance that either references your heritage or specific personal relationships that you have with yourself? Or is there anything that's particularly, or are you playing other characters? Are you, which is totally valid too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with playing an entirely different character because you're still playing yourself to a certain degree. But what kind of artists are you, Roxy? I'll start with you.
I've always, like I said kind of a bit ago, is I've always done it for somebody else. It's always about somebody else, right? I'm always providing an experience. I'm always giving somebody else what they want. I've been a million things a million times for a million people. So I try not to lean into a different identity. And that's part of being vulnerable and honest with myself as Roxy Sunshine is no. We're being ourselves. And so I just lean into me as a person and what I'm feeling, what I'm working through, and how I can just me in the now as an individual, not necessarily so much about like my heritage and my culture. I'm more interested in working how do I word this? Putting me first. Like I don't know.
What's a signature Roxy Sunshine look and performance?
Phenomenal. Everyone knows my Phenomenal act. It's the song Phenomenal by Janelle Monáe and Doechii. And if you haven't heard it, it's beautiful. But you know, she starts the song off with, I'm looking at 1,000 versions of myself, and they're all fine as fuck. You know, say it to my face. And then she goes, bitch, say it to my face. Say it. And then she goes off about being in a trance and what kind of woman she is. And I relate so much to it because the whole journey of Roxy Sunshine is honoring all versions of me and carrying her forward because we've never put her up in the front. We've never let her have her moment.
Hmm.
And so phenomenal is my signature currently and what I'm most known for. And it's a love letter
What's
to
your look
myself.
for it? What's your outfit for that?
It is, I have a very encrusted bra, completely just doused and encrusted in rhinestones, and then so are the panties, but then I kind of have a I know the word for this. It's a like a sarong
Uh-huh.
that kind of goes up, so it only drapes half of my ass and half of my body, very like this. And then I
Mm,
have
like a
these
sash.
faux
Yeah.
pheasant, yeah, I have these massive faux pheasant feather fans I made that are also from the base. They start at white, but then they ombre up to a lilac to like a deep violet.
Mm.
And let me see, I'll pull up a picture. It's the best way to describe it. Um,
Is it a
but
specific color scheme?
yes, it's all purple.
Purple.
Everything's purple. And crystal AB. Um, but it's very much just all purple and dreamy and very powerful. Like the fans help me take up so much space. They're like 17 inches in width and height. Like
Mm,
they're pretty big each.
ostentatious.
They
And you're a
I'm
petite
5'2".
individual too.
I'm 5'2". Um, but I've learned the more I lean into myself, it'll take me so far. And that's exactly what Phenomenal did. Everyone has fallen in love with Phenomenal, and it's because I'd say it's the love letter to myself of honoring all the versions of me. And what
Mm.
does that mean? So that's the act that represents who I am. I'm working on another one right now that kind of leans into another part, but I'm noticing the less I try and focus on themes
Mhm.
and oh, I'm doing a show with this theme and and I'm like, that's not fulfilling for me. I do have a Baby Yoda act though that I love to death. Okay, if you've seen The Mandalorian, you'd understand the act. But yeah, less focusing what other people want out of me because it's so easy to get caught up with that in showbiz and in shows. Like, oh, can you do this kind of thing? Or this theme, and being like, how am I feeling? What do I want to represent within myself and put out there? So
A very specific perspective because there are folks who are going to be like, yeah, of course I can roller skate. I can roller skate. And I'm going to put it down on my skill set because they want that work. They want that, they want that job. Um, so there is a difference, I think, between, I guess, the sort of unapologetic, no, this is who I am, and you sort of get it, which I feel I sort of lean into because you're kind of gonna get the Victor Devon experience. I don't know how familiar either of the two of you are about what I look like. I mean, not
I've
just
seen some
face,
of your
but like
work.
some of my style on stage. But it's like I'm gonna kind of have to come as me. I'm just gonna that's sort of what you're gonna get. And it's not that I can't tailor things, and I'll pick and I'll decide how I want to do that because even my signature, one of my signature acts, the laptop act that I do, um, is not necessarily indicative of. It happened organically, and I'm very proud of it. But it came out of a boy band theme show that I was supposed to do just once. And it over time that act has changed meanings. The person that I created that act ostensibly for that show is no longer with us. So there's a certain memorial aspect to doing that act as well. Um, but there's authenticity there. It's still a Victor, if that makes sense. Um, Ida, what is a quintessential outside of your many nipples? A quintessential Ida Banger look and performance. Is
I
there?
honestly feel like that one is like the one.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
it really is the one. Or I guess the other one that I get comments about where people are like, "Oh, like when I think of Ida Banger, I think of this." Um, I have this like Carmen Miranda type look where I have a fruit bowl hat on my head.
Okay.
And it's like a very bright, like very, very brightly colored, like pink and purple and orange and green. And it's just fruit themed, and it's two different songs mashed together. It's the song Mangoes by Rosemary Clooney,
Uh-huh.
and so it's that song, and then I also like as the intro, I do Mangoes by Kai Winding Trombones, and it's like a trombone cover of the song. Uh and yeah, that it's another like silly and sexy act that I do. And a fun fact about that act is I that was a challenge act for myself because I wanted to do an act that had absolutely no floor work.
Mm.
So and I did it, and it's taken me places, which I'm
Hmm.
very proud of.
Well, it seems also that you've gotten past that 2-minute mark. Now you're
Yeah.
stitching songs together, and
Yeah.
uh, what is your arc for do you find that there's an emotional relationship to the cat act? I know you said it's comedy, but there's a lot of truth in comedy as well. Is the cat going through something in specifics when during that act? Is there a story? Is there a moment before?
There's not really like a storyline in that act. It's more just like an act about a cat. And I do a bunch of
A day
different
in the life.
cat, yeah, a day in the life of a
Yeah.
cat, you
Uh-huh.
know. One of my favorite bits in that act is I you've had a cat, right?
Yes, I
You know how like cats will like they throw up sometimes.
I am familiar with the concept, yes.
What? No.
Yes, one of my favorite parts of that act is where I do the cat throwing up thing, and I'm just like doing the vomit motion.
This is the
And
glamour
then
of burlesque
yes,
right here,
it's
folks.
that
Yeah.
it yeah, it's the glamour of burlesque, and then out comes like a shiny cat toy like, with feathers and stuff. And I haven't lost it yet, which is nice. I know I've definitely like tossed it into the void of the audience, but I've gotten it back every single time, which is so shout out to all of the stage kittens that have done that for me.
I would buy them wholesale and then chuck it at somebody and say, keep it.
My gift to you.
I got this cat toy. I
Yes,
love
just
those
just
acts of
sell them
yours.
out, buy them out in Alibaba.
Oh my God. I quick pivot to give you a quick visual because I was like, it's better to just show you.
Mm.
So here are the fans.
Hmm.
And
Or they got
then
like a swoop to them, audience at home. They got
oh
like a
that's
little
when they're moving. It's when I'm doing this.
ooh.
And then the best way to describe the outfit with the fans behind me. So it's very much like I'll DM them to you anyways, but like we
Yeah,
got
no, very
the
very
sash, the massive ombre, the crystal. It's just like
that classic
taking up space kind of thing.
tuft behind you. That peacock turkey sort of feather moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
But yes,
so I met you in the end of May in Las Vegas when both of you came to your first Burlesque Hall of Fame weekender. I would love to hear your perspectives on what you saw, what it was like. I am a volunteer, but me and Sonia are staff. So we are recognized as sort of demi-permanent elements of the Weekender. I don't have a lot of say per se in the structure of it, but I would love to hear because as a voice within the community of the Weekender, I want to know what y'all thought. And you can be as specific if there were stuff that you loved, if there was stuff that you didn't love, what did you get from it? All of that stuff as well. I had to tell me. What was it like? being immersed in all that gorgeousness and possibly frustration.
There's there's never a dull moment. There's always something to be doing. Um, I work remotely and I told my boss, I mean, I made sure that I got everything done that needed to be done before we left for Vegas. But I was like, I'm bringing my laptop in case like I need to do or like if I have downtime. There was no downtime. I was busy the whole weekend. And it was amazing. It was like just a whole weekend full of being around some of the most amazing artists in the world. Like it's not often that that gets to ha or happens. Um
And you got to be there for it.
yeah, I got to
What
be
a what a I mean,
there.
what a pleasure to like be able to witness like all of these fabulous many of them from Australia, many of them from across
hmm
the country, if not the world. Uh,
hmm
what a delight. What specifically about the Weekender were some of your highlights?
I
Activity
think
wise, performance wise, any of it.
so I was running the merch booth with my fellow Grand Burlesque Presents pals, and I think that that was like aside from the showcases, because I feel like the showcases are like obviously like there's so much to learn in that. But I think with my personal experience of running the booth and like seeing a lot of people like performers that I recognize just like hanging out and like looking at things and getting to chat with them in a non-backstage environment. Um, I think that that was my favorite part of it because I got to meet a lot of people and see a lot of people, and I got to see interactions of other people that know each other, like seeing each other and then talking and chatting. Um, so I really enjoyed the social aspect of getting to run the merch booth.
Same. It's why I keep it was not why I keep coming back, but it is a very strong element of why I keep coming back. Roxy, how about you?
Oh man. Um, it was a really life-changing experience for me because with my background and then in the Tucson scene, I always feel like I'm a little too much um in some way
Mm.
which I'm working through, but I I throw some people off sometimes because I'm very erratic. I'm very bubbly. I'm very like phew, you know,
Mhm.
and I feel like it throws people off or they don't expect it. And at BHOF, the whole weekend there wasn't a single moment where I felt like I was too much. There wasn't a single moment where I was like, "Oh, why am I even here? I don't belong here." And you know, there's always something to be said about an event. And the trope I got over the years about BHOF is, some people who've never even been were like, well, it's just a bunch of burlesque. It's just a bunch of elite rich people who are just doing, showing off to each other. Like I'd hear really negative things. And then
It's
I've
the
had
Met
some
Gala. What
people,
do we?
I was like, some people are like, oh, I would never go to something like that, or like, oh, that just sounds like too industrial. And that sounds too some, and I was like, would you ever go though? You know?
So funny to
And
think of it as
so
like
some
corporate.
people,
Mm.
yeah, very corporate, because like I
Mm.
said, in burlesque, there's industry, there's community, there's all this stuff. And
Yeah.
so I felt really nervous going in and being like, is this meant for me? I
Mm.
think this is meant for me. I wouldn't be in the position I would be in if it wasn't meant for me. Like I didn't come and volunteer with my other grand burlesque hotties and be on this amazing trip and adventure and experience with them if I was not meant to be there.
Mm.
Um and there was not a single moment where I felt alienated or like why is she here? I spent little moment where I could, I'd call back home and be like, but like everyone's just like me. Like I'm not too much, and I'd be like calling my friends or my family and they'd be like, are you alive? And I was like, yes, I've only slept 4 hours, but I'm happy. Um, and then everybody, just seeing everybody be human. Because I know a lot of us get so caught up in social media and you know, flaunting our feathers per se,
Hmm.
and especially with backstage chat and like being on showtime, we all have to hold ourselves a certain way, mentally, emotionally, physically, all these things. But to see everybody just, as I tell people, it was our Super Bowl. Everyone's getting together. Everyone's excited. Everyone's, cheering somebody on in the competition. There's people who are blown away. There's people that are learning. We're all here together. I explained it as, they're like, what even is that? And I was like, you know how there's the Super Bowl and in football? That's our version of it in burlesque. This is our Super Bowl. They're like, oh, okay. Um, but overall, seeing everybody treat each other like people.
Mm.
No matter how far in the chain you are in burlesque and being recognized in awards and where you're from around the world, everyone was just treating each other as equals.
Mm.
There was plenty of times where I would see, industry, networking, things like that, but it was so wonderful to see everyone being treated like a peer. That was the best part for me. It
If you
it was
could
just
think
incredible.
of something that they either fell short or something that could be worked on, was there anything that you said, you know what? It was the first year back at the plaza. I could understand why. Was there anything that seemed amiss? This is not meant to be like a, well, fuck these people. How dare they not disappoint me? But this is a growing experience. Was there anything that could have been improved upon? Because I already know at least one or two myself.
I think so. Obviously, BHOF this year being at the plaza is my first time ever in the plaza, and I know had plenty of people had so much to say about the difference in location and accessibility and all this
Hmm.
stuff. Um, we would like another table at the merch booth on day one. I know that was inevitable. We couldn't change that. The
Understood.
amount of lunges I got in from going up and down under the table, up and down under the table to get those hoodies and those shirts, I was like, I'm dedicated. I'm your girl. Um, oh man. I wonder, maybe more, I'm thinking a lot of us were very lost. If
Mm.
there was like better signage throughout the hotel. I know the plaza wasn't just dedicated to BHOF. Dozens and hundreds of other people outside of BHOF were there. But I know so many people were lost. So I feel like if there was like a little bit of signage on the floor of like, hey, this way, if you're looking
Hmm.
for this, it's this way, just basic
Hmm.
floor signage, because a lot of people were very lost. Especially
A
going
little bit
back
like
to
the
the
back
plaza.
rooms, just like a lot of places that looked a lot alike. Yeah, I get
Very
you.
confusing. And
Yeah.
I know me and Ida are very grateful to have been a part of the volunteer team with Grand Burlesque and running the merch booth. So we already had people to ask like, hey, where's the like where's
Mhm.
this thing? Where's this? But there's some people who don't have that luxury and that privilege to have somebody immediately they know to ask. So
Mm.
I think as a consumer and as a volunteer or as just somebody who's coming along, um, directions, a little bit of signage, I think would be helpful.
I like that. I like that. I think that's absolutely fair.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Ida?
No notes from me.
Ida.
Or like
It,
Roxy, the
it
bad
was
person. No, there's nothing. There's no bad here. No, well, and I'm glad. I'm very glad. Because I know that. And the reason I ask is because again, it is a living, breathing event. Um, I believe it is already, the contract has been signed. I say this unofficially. I'm have, again, folks at home, I have no authority, um, for it to be back there again next year. And I actually have a staff meeting this upcoming week, where I'll be talking with other folks. Well, I'll be listening more often, about how the last weekender went. Um, so I want to have a sense of what it was like also as a volunteer, because it's very important that we have volunteers. I know that there's some discussion about compensation that will always come up when it comes to burlesque and our involvement, asking burlesque people to do burlesque things. When it comes to either community, whether it comes to crowdsourcing, funding, buying a ticket for a show, in addition to getting compensated for when we're actually up there on stage. You know what it is, you know what I mean? There's a lot of discussion about sort of commodifying our involvement. And sometimes that gets stuck behind community as an excuse to not, as sort of saying, well, this is a community, this is a fundraiser, this is a this. So you can't question it. And I don't believe that to be true. I know there was a big kerfluffle when it came to the live stream of the Weekender performances in the showcase. There were a number of people who were ticket holding people who did not get to see some or much of the shows because of technical glitches. I'm not saying that that's excuse. I'm just saying it happened.
Yeah.
And the only thing that can really happen after that is to say, okay, so what does that mean? Do you then, as a consumer, say, well, I didn't get what I paid for, so I want some sort of, compensation for that? Or the money that I've put into this, we deserve as an industry to have better. So let's strive to make sure that doesn't happen in the future. Keep my $60, but know that it comes with an asterisk that there were people who gave $60 who should have gotten something in response to that, who should have got, um, and I came out on the side of, it's not a matter of whether or not it's excusable or understandable that technical glitches happen. It just did. It just did. Um, what do we do to prevent that from happening in the future has to be taken into account, but then also kind of consider what you're putting your money into. You're not just paying money for a show. You're also paying money for a foundation, for a purpose that I've seen where that money goes. It's not just the museum that doesn't have a physical location anymore. It's getting these legends there.
Mhm.
It's compensating us in other realms as well, including renting that plaza. So it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that as well. So I understand as a ticket holder, if I were going to a Broadway show and there's a technical glitch, that I would be peeved. And I have to consider, I might ask for my money back. And I have to consider, what am I doing when I'm doing that? What am I looking for? What am I trying to get out of that? Because I figure that as a corporate thing too. But I also, that's all a bunch of unions, it's all a bunch of individuals, it's all a bunch of everything too. So I think being part of major productions has sort of adjusted my perspective. I mean, if it's Amazon or Google or Meta or whatever, fuck them. They're like, they can afford it. But I don't know. I've started to reconsider sort of my perspective on how much of a village it really does take, um, to put on these big shows that we deserve, we get, and someone decided to, take that responsibility, take that on. So I will say accessibility is a major component, though. There were people in wheelchairs and mobility devices who could not do things, and that can't be okay. So,
One other thing that I feel like everyone just kind of skipped over in about like everyone got so worried about like, oh, it's not industry, like man. One thing I never really expected is I didn't know what my experience was going to be like with Legends.
mm, mhm.
And I absolutely fell in love with Madam E and Pillow. I got so close with both of them. I never wanted to let them go. I was sad I had to go home. Um, that was life-changing.
Mm,
And I still hold so many of the conversations I have and feeling seen and understood with Pillow and Madam E so much. Um, that didn't expect that at BHOF. I was like, oh, okay, Legends, da, 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 da. Like this is gonna be kind of like I don't know what to expect, and I was like blown away. To comment on about people getting upset about the live stream and
hmm
things like that, I'm very stubborn. I'm a Taurus, right? I'm just kind of like, can we just take a step back and be grateful that this even exists in today's world, that it's still standing and that we can even do these things? And like it is a foundation and like you said, like versus not like a Broadway show or if you're going to a concert or like all these things. I feel like I'm willing to have a little bit more flexibility on something like Behalf if something kind of gets messed up technically, like with live
hmm
stream and things like that. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. And it was
hmm
it was Behalf's first time back at the plaza for in a long time.
hmm
So whether it was Wi-Fi, network, signal, tech, like you can only really take that information and move forward. I'm not a part of the finances of BHOF, I'm not a part of the staff, but I feel like it just comes with the understanding of consuming the content. There's a lot
hmm
going on. You got to kind of have the mindset that something might get messed up. That's just me, though. That's just me.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's also something to be said about saying, we just take into account that we have this opportunity, but that opportunity deserves to be streamlined as well. Like there
Hmm.
deserve like
It's so
it's just it's
tricky.
I hate the expression slippery slope, but it is a bit of a slippery slope, or at least what I try to say instead of that is a troublesome goose. It is in fact a troublesome goose to say to make allowances for it or
Hmm.
excuses, and I'm using that loosely. Because you know what, it's disappointing and it is frustrating, and I think we are at a weird place when it comes to competitions, in addition to uh, what we're viewing as visibility outside of the rooms that we're performing in. The idea of a virtual stream is already sort of, we'd be burned as witches a century ago. The idea of being able to transport footage across
Hmm.
the internet. Um, it is sort of it does show that we're not at that place technologically to be so secure. It does require checks and balances. It does show that we still need to figure shit out because, I mean, I don't know about you. I have always found hotel Wi-Fi to be buggy. It is
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the worst. They are the back rooms. It is the liminal space. I don't know what it is about those buildings, but almost
Energy.
all of them, once you get into a convention hall, I don't like where are we? Siberia? Like this, it's so strange. Like we can be in the most populous city and suddenly behind, I don't even know, 2 feet of concrete? Why can't I get what is this? Why doesn't this work?
I don't
But I
know.
don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
there's not one without the other. It's like, but like it's a teeter-totter for sure.
yeah. And I deal with that too on the pod too, because I also uh this is not I'm so folks at home, I'm not in a studio. I am in a home office. I am using a good but a standard microphone. I don't have sound isolation outside of whatever technology is built into this microphone. Sometimes I talk to people and their connections are buggy. It sounds like, AM radio or worse. And there's a part of me that's sort of like, well, it's more punk, it's more rock and roll, it's more organic if we just do this. But don't we, as a community, also deserve to have these conversations preserved in a more pristine nature? Sure, 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 sure. But I have also learned that in my own way, I need to be a little bit less precious about that because if I try to get things to the perfect level, it'll never happen. Then I'll just keep postponing it until I get it right. I can't do that. I just
That's
can't
with
do that.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. So I have to remove some of that. I mean, I'm not inherently a perfectionist. I'm a bad Virgo in that regard, but I've been told. But it's sort of the way things are sometimes. So, mm,
Life be
mm,
lifing.
yeah.
Hi, I'm Jen Ponton,
And I'm Lillian Bustle,
and we're the hosts of All the Fucks.
a podcast about vulnerability.
But it's more than just that. It's nostalgia.
It's unrequited crushes.
It's the mortifying moments that make you want to crawl back inside your own belly button.
Ooh, and somehow it's sometimes about pelicans.
A pelican allegory, if you will.
Oh, I will.
So if your heart has ever felt like a skinned knee,
Oh, you'll fit right in as one of our fuck buddies.
All the Fucks. A storytelling podcast wherever you listen.
Are the two of you competitive people? Do you think that exists inside of you to look at, not necessarily BHOF per se, 'cause that's not for everybody, but look at titles or, the grandeur that comes with recognition? I'll
I
start with you.
I am not really a competitive person. So when I grew up doing dance, it was just for like the love of dance. I was never like a company dancer or anything. Um, like when I was in orchestra growing up, um, we uh we would do competitions because that was what got us to like get to go to California and like do like meet amazing conductors and like other musicians that would help give us more training and info. But like it for me, it was never or like I've never had the competitive nature. I always just really like doing the art for the sake of doing the art and enjoying the art and getting to share it with people.
Do you think that
That
you're?
being said,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, please. Yeah, no, please go ahead. You're on a roll.
um, hold on. I need to go plug in my laptop, so I'm going
Okay,
to move real quick.
we're going to pause.
Okay. There's like a 3D printer in the background. Can you hear it or is it okay?
I can't hear it.
I can hear
Okay,
it.
sweet. Um, Okay, that being said, even though I do not have a competitive nature, I just recently did this competition to become a monthly cast member for the show Cirque du Soleil.
Hmm.
But it was very stressful. I did not super enjoy the competition aspect of it, although it did make things interesting. Um, and it did definitely bring in a lot of audience. So I think there is something interesting about that. Like people love to see like team A versus team B or like just two different
That
things or three or more
it's
just
that
put up
reality
against each
TV
other.
component. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair. But that seemed almost more like an audition than like that's yeah, a competition certainly, but with a outcome of then being able to do stuff outside of a competition, right? That's more of
Yeah.
a lead in.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. hmm
what were the dynamics of that? Was it like a weekly thing?
Yeah, so it
Or
was a 6 week competition. There were like the first 3 weeks were preliminary weeks, so it was 15 people, and then it was split up into five, five, and five, like randomly, and then the like top three winners from each week moved on to the next round, and then it kept getting
Hmm.
cut until the final round, where it was I think 5 people. And then there were 2 people chosen as the winners.
Where did you place?
So I placed second, but I got the judge's choice. So I feel like that was the win for me. Like I
Yeah.
was picked by the person who made the competition. So I don't know. Even if I didn't place and I wasn't a monthly cast member, I still would have felt like a winner because going through that process was like it was like showgirl boot camp because it really was. It was like every single week we were just showing up and like watching and observing and like when we weren't like on the day or like not on the day of the performance, it was just cramming in costume building and like making acts and uh yeah, there was some like a bunch of twists and turns that were thrown in. So it was showgirl boot camp basically.
You learn a
It
lot
was
about
so cool
yourself.
to
Yeah.
so cool to see all the updates online every week. I was like, oh yes, I get him.
Mhm.
And I was like screaming at my phone. I was like, I think that she was in it. And he's like, what? I was like, never mind. You're so cool.
Are you a competitive person, Roxy? Do you see that in you?
Um, I
Competitive, again,
can
doesn't have
see
to mean
parts of it.
cutthroat. There's not even that doesn't have to be like a I want to win so other people lose. I don't want anybody to think that that's the implication here.
I need to stop competing with myself
Mm. Oh, we're
before I
getting
can
deep here,
compete with
folks.
others.
Oh, we're going there. We're going there, everybody. If you can't love
I
yourself,
am my own worst enemy and I know it.
uh,
And hence why my acts are about working through certain things and putting myself out there more than trying to fit other people's bills. For the first couple of years, I was really, we're like, well, you can't say no to a show. You can't, like, because as soon as you start saying no, then you like, then everyone's gonna like just this lore
they're
of
gonna forget
people are
about
gonna
you.
forget about you, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was talking to my friend Taryn Garders about this, and
Oh,
she was like,
Taryn, friend of the pod.
love
Yay.
Taryn.
Yeah.
Cheers for Taryn. Um, we were at a showgirl bonfire, actually, and we were there around the fire, and I was telling
How
her
many
about the
showgirls did you
prelim.
burn?
Listen, It's all of our secrets in the fire. And she looked at me and she's like, you could still be relevant and not perform. And I was like, oh, that really reframed my mindset. Like, you could still be relevant and not be performing at every single show all the time. You could still go at a different pace and it's going to be okay. And I needed to hear that because, I come from a very work, next. So in competitive nature, I need to stop competing with myself. And while I see burlesque competitions can be cutthroat in like online or in chat rooms or in backstage, things like that kind of energy. I think competing really is just about putting yourself, how do I word this? It gives you more opportunities. Competing gives you more opportunities and puts you in front of people that would normally never see you. That's what I think is really cool about competing. But I think one day I could definitely get to that point if once my lifestyle changes a little bit. I have an almost 13-year-old and I'm running 2 businesses. I can't really focus on competing right now, but I think it could be a fun challenge to meet new people and go to places and really learn and explore. And because I know deep down inside, I really feel like I have something different to bring to the table because I have a really unique background. And I know that people deserve to see something like that, and I'm worth putting that out there. But yeah, I got to start with me first.
No, that makes total sense. I think a lot of times we do get that sort of mindset that if I'm not working, then I'm invisible or that I'm failing in some capacity, failing myself or failing, you know, to be engaging. It's that content creation grind as well. And I fall into that even after 20 years. It's part of me too. But I have to then take into account I'm a Madonna fan. She just released her last album after 6 years of her last album. Did that mean she wasn't an entertainer or a singer or an artist during those 6 years? No, it does not. She just has a new piece. So you can go long stretches in time and it's still what you are. It's still your job. It's still your identity. If you don't make a movie for a year, does that mean you're no longer an actor? No, it does not. If you are very selective, if you're an opera singer and you need to train your voice and allow your voice time between shows and you take time off, are you suddenly not an opera singer during that downtime? No, that's not fair. That's not fair. By any stretch that if because it's both a job and an identity and a career and a mindset and all of these things. Now, if you work at the post office as a mail carrier and you leave your job or lose your job or something happens, are you still a mail carrier? Well, that's up to your criteria. Because I think actually, yes, if you're looking for employment still in that job. If you're looking for it, then yes. But if you say, you know what, maybe I'll try real estate, maybe I'll try maybe I'll try go to culinary school. Well, then you're that. So I think it's still an inactive sort of concept because it's not just the job. It's not just the independent contractor job to job to job, you know. So
That's funny that you said mail carrier because that's what my parents do. Like they work for USPS.
oh,
Yeah, they're
I
they're mail carriers.
at the same both of them? Is that how
Or
they
well,
met?
my dad has retired as of this year, but there's like a big central plant where they process all the mail.
Is I find one of the most self thankless jobs I find because they're not in control of any of that and yet they're the face fronting. So if something is late or if something costs a lot for processing or any of that, like it's not them, folks. Like it's like going to a barista and saying, "Why are you calling it a grande?" It's just what they are told to do. Like,
Just order the damn thing.
let's order the damn thing. Just pay for ground advantage. I don't know what to tell you, folks. I know,
I
I
just work here.
understand.
I just came up with an unhinged mail carrier act now. So, oh God, my brain went bing.
There we go.
Yep. Can't
Um,
say it.
no, there's um before I let you go, and I thank you both for being gracious with your time. Both, I mean, again, it is sort of just barely scratching the surface, but I'm really glad that we have this opportunity to extend um, the friendship that we began in person. And I hope that this also was a useful um, process to sort of like get some thoughts as well and discuss why we do what we do and what it's like doing it today. Um, because I think that there is sort of an ebb and flow to momentum. I'm glad things are going well in your regions for opportunities and creative expression and all of that. Um, and that you're both excited about being show people. I think that's really cool. And I saw that when you were like looking around at the vendors. And Ida, how many headdresses did you walk away with?
I went home with three different
Three.
headpieces. Yeah.
It
Have
was
you
funny
figured
packing
out?
that car, I will tell you that.
At least it was a drive. It wasn't a travel.
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
remember when Chola Magnolia won, she posted, I'm like, so how do I get this trophy home? Like, that's a valid point.
There is a UPS inside the plaza. I remember we ironically uh we ran into Pillow in
Mm,
the parking lot,
Yeah.
and then we got the bestest advice on how to pack a headdress. Like as we're deprived and packing the car, we're like, wait, what? What?
a fairy
What?
godmother
Let
came
me write.
by. Yes.
What was that? Let me write that down. And she explained us how to construct a headdress box that's kind of indestructible and travel with it. And I was like, Ida, I hope you're taking notes because you're the one with three
Yeah.
headdresses now. Yeah. And so I was like, I just put my stuff down and I just started listening because I was like, I'm not gonna rush Pillow. I'm listening. Yeah. And we're just in the parking lot in the plaza, all this unhinged stuff everywhere, and cars are driving by, and I'm like, keep going. Don't worry about what all this weird stuff is getting crammed into this rental car.
It's
Yeah.
Showgirl Caucus. Don't mind. Don't mind.
It's just a
Uh,
typical Monday. Uh,
um, did you walk away with anything special, Roxy, from the vendor room?
that Zephyr robe,
Ah,
that
yes.
ombre, gorgeous fuchsia to like a deep royal purple violet kind of thing.
Hmm.
Very had an Elton John thought in there because of the bright fuchsia feathers around my neck. I was like, oh my goodness. And you know, I really wanted a set of, don't we all want a set of feather fans from
Queen
Queen
Kwan?
Kwan?
I mean, listen.
But I didn't
If I
have
had the
the
storage, if I had
money.
I know. Oh yeah, the money too.
Yeah, I guess, life's
I
gonna
was
life.
looking at my lack of shelving that's available. That was what I was doing. I
Yes,
sort
I
of
got
forgot
a
that it also. Yeah.
gorgeous goddess-like robe that I can't wait to make a act out of. And because of the fabric, it doesn't wrinkle. Because I hate
Mm,
carrying a freaking steamer around. It's annoying,
yeah.
but here we all are.
Mhm.
But yeah, I walked away with that and I was excited because it fit in my bag.
Yay. Um, is there anything that's coming up in the rest of the year that either of you is particularly excited about? Ida,
Oh,
Roxy,
Um, I am ex continually excited about my Cirque du Soleil monthly cast member being
status. Yes.
every month I will be at Cobalt Bar at performing in Cirque du Soleil, and it's a drag burlesque sideshow variety show, so that there's a lot of different things you can get out of it, which is very fun. So I bring the burlesque, and I sometimes bring Ariel to that stage, because I can bring my rig there and set it up, and it's a good time. So I have been blessed with this opportunity to get to come up with new things. I mean, I also revisit old acts and revamp them a bit. but I have um consistent deadlines to get to make new stuff and put it on out there and inspire others. And I am very grateful for that. And if you guys are in Phoenix, Arizona, I hope to catch you at one of those.
Yes, we love a residency.
As
I
long as
do
I,
love that.
as long as I can crash on your couch.
Yes.
Your girl doesn't want to drive 4 hours, like 2 hours there, 2 hours back. No.
There might be a cat, but that's
My cat Scarface will be okay. He'll be like, Mom, and I'll be like, listen.
Listen, I have a life outside this house, you know.
Listen, sir, he used to at 1.2. He was a street cat that found me as part of the, cat distribution system.
Mm.
But yes, my big black cat Scarface. Um, but I definitely want to come up. I want to, and I love Trey. I feel like Trey should submit to host BHOF so bad. That was incredible. But Victor, you gotta see Trey the Bearded Beauty. Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Incredible.
I'm
Um,
into it.
do it. Come
What do you
see.
have going on coming up?
Um, I have an act. I Phenomenal. I took a lot of time to focus on. It was very therapeutic, and now I have another act that I'm like, oh, I'm excited to take some downtime and kind of like dive into it. But I'm more excited about my studio will be turning a year old in September, Studio Sunshine, and it's a private rehearsal studio. So anybody can come here and just rent it online, pin access, AC, you name it, and you just get to come and rehearse and do whatever you need in private. Because I've noticed a lot of artists don't have that. Like you
Mm.
can't just go to your local dance studio and be like, well, can I rent this space? They're like, well, if you have to be part of this membership or this thing, everything's by the hour here. So it's been super cool hosting workshops and having a lot of different artists come here and have a safe, clean space meant
Hmm.
for them. So that's been cool. And then I will be fully launching the Rhinestone Bar to the public here soon, and I'm so excited. I have hold on. Let me show you because I'm in my
Oh,
studio. Look at that. The Studio
ooh, Studio
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
It looks like
Yes.
your fans in that one photo.
I know. Well, in the Rhinestone Bar, so I have a whole wall and continuously growing drawers of rhinestones. And so you get to come in and start pulling drawers of rhinestones. And you're like, I have this green outfit. Will this green work? I don't know. Let's put it on there. And you get to come in, set it on the
Ah.
table, and color match and build what you might need. Because nothing is worse than buying rhinestones online and then they don't match. They're not what you need. So we got our two gross wall over there, and then my continuously growing collection of rhinestones here for people to come in and play with the rhinestones and color match and get what they need. So I'm very excited to be fully launching the rhinestone bar. Um, Here's the showgirl wallpaper.
Yes.
Um, Fully launching the rhinestone bar so more artists and performers can kind of get the colors they need and
And do it in person.
yeah, and do it in person. Like know what you're
Yeah.
buying. Know what goes with your costume.
Are they able to just rhinestone in the in the place like it's a Color Me Mine? Are they able to just
You
construct while
know,
they're there?
I do host a burlesque open studio on Sundays, and that allows strictly burlesque performers to come in at a discounted rate to share the studio together. And so they're like, well, can I just like buy some rhinestones and rhinestone this real quick in here? And I was like, yeah, come on, like get in here. But I eventually want to put tables out in the dance studio room and where I host times where people can just come and rhinestone their heart out, get whatever rhinestones they need, and just sometimes it's hard to rhinestone at home. You
Hmm.
know, you're distracted by the dishes or things you got to take care of, or you got pets or you got kids, and you're like, oh my God, leave me alone. So yeah, I'm very excited about the Rhinestone Bar more than anything. It's been very
Very
cool to
cool.
hear everyone's
Do you find
excitement.
that zen, or are you a rhinestoner, or do you prefer if other okay. Not everyone loves it. I mean,
I
I
love
find
it.
I
And
mean,
I
as
love
a
color theory and all like it's like home for me, honestly.
yeah, are you an embellisher, Ida?
Yes, I love rhinestoning. It's very fun. It's like it gives me the same feeling as like doing a puzzle, you know?
Mhm.
Where you're
You
just
have to
like
wear the puzzle.
doing it like it's kind of the same thing, honestly.
It's
Like
very
taking
similar, yeah.
pieces and then
Or
putting
like
them
those coloring
together.
books. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could see
Yeah. I wouldn't have my businesses if it wasn't for me starting burlesque. So it's such a weird hindsight, like really proud of myself for pushing myself because now I get to lean into community more and provide a safe space. Because in Tucson, like it's really hit or miss. And so to push myself further and create space for others is such an honor. And
that.
I just get to keep having more and more new adventures and experiences with the community. So, but yeah, very, very, very excited to launch the Rhinestone Bar to the public. So,
Nice. Do you have a opening date?
no, well, she's already open, but it's kind of like word of mouth. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping in the next month I can launch my Book Now button, which allows people to go on my Instagram and book a color matching session where I meet you here and you get to come and play with all the rhinestones. So
Where
very,
where do you have like Instagram that folks can follow to see what
yeah.
when? Yeah.
Studio Sunshine is Studio Sunshine AZ, and then the Rhinestone Bar is the Rhinestone Bar.
Got
So,
it.
and I'm setting up as much as I hate Meta. I'm in the middle of switching platforms for my shop, so that way people can shop on Instagram and Facebook directly. If they find something they like on the platform, they could just check out and shop there.
And you of course have your own performer socials.
Yes. Uh, Let me triple check because it's a little weird to say. Do 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 do. So it's Roxy's Sunshine. So it's Roxy Sunshine, but with two S's.
Roxy S Sunshine, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Roxy's Sunshine. Yes.
How about you, Ida?
Mine
How do we
is
keep in touch with yours?
Ida.banger.
Done.
Ida, how did you come up with your name? I'm
It
sorry,
came
keep
to me.
going.
My name just came to me one day because I knew back when I had found out that burlesque exists, I was like, oh, I want to have like a funny name that's a pun name. Like I always knew I wanted it to be a pun. And I had some ideas, and I was checking to see if any of them were taken. I don't remember what they were anymore, but I like there was just this one day where Ida Banger came to me, and I was like, "There's no way that one's available." But I checked like multiple different ways, and I was like, "There's no Ida Bangers." So I guess I'm Ida Banger.
Check your local, check the internet to make sure you don't
Yeah,
have the same name as somebody.
I
So many
know.
people don't do that. Victor, how did you get your name?
Victor is from Frankenstein.
Mhm.
More specifically, the spelling of it, Viktor, is from an adaptation of Frankenstein called The Bride. There was a movie in the 80s starring Sting and Jennifer Beals and Carrie Ellis, called The Bride, and it is a loose adaptation on the Mary Shelley novel. And I really liked the name Victor, and it was the name of the monster in that one, actually. The in the book, Victor is the scientist, and it's spelled Viktor. And I actually own the DVD to The Bride. I have never watched it because I grew up with the storybook hardcover. It's not a children's book, movie, so I don't know why they made like a adaptation uh for it, but I had that as a child. I don't even know why I had it as a child. I must have picked it up at like the Strand or like a one of these many bookstores that I would go with my mom, and I probably just looked through it and said I want this, and I got it, and I would read it over and over again, over and over again. I was fascinated with it. The reason I've never watched the film because I'm afraid it won't live up to it. But I do own it. Maybe one day, you know what? Maybe for like a special content for We Burlesque, I'll actually sit and watch it and people can
Live
watch it
react.
with me. Basically, yeah. I'd love to do more movie nights. I used to do that during the pandemic. Um, but the Devon, I don't know. I needed a last name and I said it and it never changed. It's not a pun, it's not a reference, it's not meant to evoke divine. It's not meant, it's just the last name I picked. Um, and it does not exist in the world. There are no Victor Devons, except me. There are other Victors in burlesque, many who have come after me. I don't know if there were any before me, but I did start 20 years ago, and the internet for burlesque listings was not quite the world that it was back then. And then White Elephant Burlesque, which was created at the same time as Victor, essentially, comes from the concept of a white elephant being essentially a something that you throw money at that will never return on investment. So it's kind of a self-aware acknowledgement. It's sort of a lot of people use it as like a old mansion in like the Hollywood Hills where it constantly needs updates, constantly needs maintenance and upkeep, but it will never be the value of what somebody will pay for it. And it comes from an Indian expression of basically where they are sacred animals. You can't use them as beasts of burden the same way that you would other other towing animals or other animals like donkeys or horses or however they could be. And the idea is that there's a anecdote that a royal figure to fuck with a discourteous representative gave him several white elephants, knowing that he would have to take care of them because they were sacred and they were beautiful and wonderful, but he couldn't actually make money off of them, so he would probably go destitute. It's yeah. It's another reason that we have like things called like white elephant parties where it's sort of like a
Hmm.
regifting situation too. It's not based on the white elephant regifting concept though. That I learned about actually after we named ourselves. But my co-director at the time and I also thought we burlesque as a concept was really cool. And we were the White Elephant Burlesque Society because we were a troupe at one point, besides a production company. So we were webs as well. People would call us webs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And, I remember I came up to you on Sunday at BHOF and I was like, I was at the Zoltar and I pulled the white elephant ticket and I was like, what the hell? Do you remember that, Ida? I was
I
like, what
do.
the
I
hell?
remember.
Oh my God.
I do love me the elephants. I do collect them sparingly. I don't like seek them out, but if I find them, I'm it's hard for me to say no.
Yeah. Well,
But
you're meant to be in my path because, like I said, I've never pulled a Zoltar ticket card reading that had a white elephant on it before, and I collect them. Every time I go by a Zoltar, I have to get one. So I have years worth of. It's not like I see them often either. So I was like,
no, the concept of those I think has really passed. A lot of like boardwalk
yeah,
institutions are not the same.
I find them
Well,
comforting.
but yeah, that was like the long form version of where I don't actually mention it a lot, so I thought for everyone at home, if you were wondering, there you have it. Uh, all right, darlings. Well, thank you so much. I will tag you in all of the things so that people can keep up and so that I can keep up with your goings on. I do love the Arizona scene. I've had a number of Arizonians on the pod from Taryn to Olive you more was recently on. Um, Matt Finish has obviously been on. Desiree is a sweetheart. So I'm very glad. Itza has also been. So I like. I've noticed what happens a lot is that when I visit a location, invariably the pod becomes very full of folks because I've met them there. So when I
Mhm.
did the Arizona Festival, it was like, oh, suddenly there will be an influx. But since I met you out of state, it's even more exciting that you have joined the collective.
I think
But
we're
I'll get
pretty
back at some
cool.
point. I'll get there at some point. I mean, I Phoenix is a little easier because it's a one flight situation. Tucson requires an additional 20-minute flight from where I come from,
Hmm.
but it's not far at all. So I'll make my way back.
Making my
If
way down there to
if you have any
Tucson.
recommendations where I should find myself, I'd be happy to. Um, we'll be well, thrive. Thank you for being with us and go out into the world and keep doing the amazing things. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
holding
Victor.
space.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah,
been
pleasure.
such a pleasure.
Right.
It's also
Well,
very
darlings.
fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like that's really what this podcast is. It's like, yes, it's content. Yes, it's kind of monetized. I make like $100 a month on Patreon, which is nothing. But that said, actually, folks at home, if you would like to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/we burlesque and get a few exclusives as well as have an easy way of constantly paying my server fees. Yay.
Hey. But yeah,
I don't
this was a really beautiful experience. I was nervous at first, and I was like, oh,
I am intimidating.
you're so intimidating.
Oh, I
Stop
am.
it, Victor.
No, I can't help it. All right, darlings. Mwah. Have a good rest
Yeah.
of your evening and day and weekend, and see you around.
All right, cheers.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We Burlesque the Podcast, created, developed, and edited by Viktor Devonne. Podcast artwork by Logan Laveau. We Burlesque the Podcast cover art photography by Atticus Stevenson. Theme song, On a 45 by This Way to the Egress, used with permission. All incidental music via Pixabay under the expectation of fair use. Please visit WeBurlesquePodcast.com for notes on this and every other episode. Follow We Burlesque and Viktor Devonne on just about every platform, and support the podcast via patreon.com/We Burlesque. Don't got the cash? Please follow, subscribe, and give 5 stars on every platform you can get your hands on. It really does help. All original material is owned by Viktor Devonne and White Elephant Burlesque Corporation. All other materials property of their respective copyright. No infringement, while likely, is intended. This episode and all episodes thereafter are in memory of Lucky Charming. Miss you, friend. And that's it.
Woohoo!